Hello everyone, welcome back for the day 2 Selenium Advanced Training. Let's take a quick look at what we did yesterday and take it forward from there. So primarily we wrote a few manual test cases yesterday, couple of them, and we were trying to do the automation from that perspective. So let's quickly go to the day 1 files. Where did I keep that? SAT, why is there only one? Where's the text file that I did yesterday? That's interesting. Yeah, so where did I save this? I'm gonna quickly save this in our folder because everything that I'm doing, team, is going to this SAT December 2016 folder, and we want to continue from there. So quick look at what we did. We saw how we take a manual test case and start to automate that using Selenium WebDriver and JUnit, correct, in yesterday's session. And what we were trying to do is make sure that we create the right project, right classes. How do we fix the run time errors and the syntax error as we go along? So we have kind of did about, I would say about 50-60% in the code. Let's continue to finish rest of them. Hope you all can hear me fine, team, because some of you mentioned, a couple of you actually said can't hear, so it could be more at your end rather than mine in terms of the audio. So please let me know on that. Okay. All right. So here is the code that we did, team, yesterday. So let's take a quick look. Very important for us. We have the package, which just points us to where under the source folder is this specific class that we're working with. Then within that project 2 that we're talking about, we've created a test case 001.java, all within Eclipse. In that, we imported whatever was needed as and when we wanted. So this script was not something we exported from Selenium Ide. We wrote that from scratch using Selenium WebDriver, JUnit in Eclipse, correct? So our three annotations at before, so I'm going to minimize that block of code, at test, which is the actual test case, and at after, what happens to the test after the test execution is completed. So that is what we primarily focused on so much, team, so far. All right. Now let's see how we take it forward. I'm gonna save this as a new version of test case. Same test case number, but I'll say _2. Why? So when you start accessing these files, you will have a great opportunity to be able to compare based on what you're watching. That is the primary reason, team. So any errors that you see on the program as soon as we saved as _2, is there any error? How do you know? So just go to your problem. It should show you there. Yes, there is one error. Why do you think that error is there? And these things are some of the fundamental things you should start to identify even before the Eclipse starts telling you what the error is. Correct. So you saved it as a different class, as a different Java class, right? So you also have to change it out here. So we'll make this also _2 and save. Let's see if those errors disappear. Perfect. So this is a good running code. So what are we doing in add before? One, we're saying here is where our Chrome driver is, and we're setting that property for a webdriver.chrome.driver to this. We're opening the browser in Chrome. We're managing the timeouts to be 10 seconds. In the main test, we're starting with navigating to the application URL. We entered the username. We entered the password. So this is our progress so far. And password, if we remember correctly yesterday, it was password this way. All right. Now, what is the next step, team? After we enter this information, we can go back and look at our test case to make sure. So we want to click on the login button. So how do we identify that login button? So I go back to the application, and here is where it is. So far we have used what attribute to identify elements so far, team, in our script? How did we identify our elements in the script? Come on, everyone. In this script so far yesterday, what attribute or property we used to identify? Even better, look at this. Yes, exactly. So we used ID. From now, we'll just use XPath. Why? If ID or name is available, is that not a better way to do it? Of course it is, but you need to practice on XPath writing, and that is key, team, for correct element identification, especially when your application starts to get more and more complex. So that typically means now that how do we identify this element? So right click, inspect that using Firebug or regular code. All that we are interested is to get this information. So now here is the HTML code for this specific element. Now, can you all help me in identifying what will be the XPath? I'm going to give a break for exactly 30 seconds, and you have to look at this and show me the XPath that is there. All right. Can you quickly take this as an exercise and do it and show it to me, please? So the action is on your end, everyone. For some of you who already started responding, thank you, appreciate it. I'm gonna wait for the others as well. And I will look at all the wrong answers and I'll start showing you why are they wrong. Login. So here's the whole code. So I'm going to copy this code and put it in a new file. So the XPath for this is, so how come out of so many participants, almost 70 participants, team, yesterday there were about 80-85 who joined in, I get only 10-15 responses? So are others not following? They don't know how to write XPath, or you're not interested? And team, if you're just joining for the sake of evaluation and all that and so on, that's fine, but participate. If you don't participate, there's no point. Everyone, it should not take this long. I just got 10-11 responses so far. Okay, whatever I've got as what I believe as some of the examples, I'm going to quickly put it here. The reason I keep focusing on XPath is for the simple fact that it's so important. Okay, let me take some of these. Can you see my screen, the text file? Now you tell me if any of these are correct or not and why they are incorrect if they are. Just taking some of the common ones that I'm seeing and putting it up here. Okay. All right. Can you see all this, team? Now, in this, which do you think is correct and which do you think is incorrect? And I want to know why, if anything is incorrect. What is wrong with the first one? And tuk. Last one, team. Just give me 1 second. I'm typing here, copying a few and trying to put them here. Okay. Now, the best way for us to evaluate always, like I said, is please use Selenium Ide when you want to do element identification, at least as a verification. So here is what I would do. And let's see. Now, sometimes some of these may look at the outset that it is not correct, but it may work still just because XPath tries to be flexible. So let's look at this. Copy this, put it here in the target, and we're going to say find. Is it finding the element, team? I don't know. Let's look at log. No issue here. So surprisingly, it seems to be working. I can see it blinking and no error coming up. And I don't even need to say slash button out here. Now let me say find. This whole form is coming. So who wrote this? This is amazing. Cause what this gentleman did, or one of the participant, is they went to the form and said ID is login underscore form. Under that, go for the first button. And that's a great way to do it as well. Not the easiest, but this is the fact that when the situation arises, you know how to find things alternately. Melkor, thank you so much for that. All right. As I saw it, I thought, come on, this does not seem right. But it worked. How about the second one? What do you think, team? Will it work? What do you think? This will work? And team, since there's so many participants, I'm looking at, just a few of the things. Is it working? No. Locator not found. Why do you think it's not? It's not working, team. There's no HTML tag here. If you're not sure, you can say star. Now let's say find. Still cannot. Why? At name equals login. There's nothing called name equals login here. Name is submit. That is the issue. So I change it to name is submit. Then I say find. Now it is fine. I can clear my log and click find again, and I'm able to find it. That's cool. How about the next one? Will this work, everyone? Find. Again error. Why do you think this is failing? This seems to be failing because we're saying button and class is btn hyphen success. All right. Why is there a space after the single quotes before btn? Is there a space here after the double quotes? Then why should there be a quote here, space here? It should not be. So please don't try and treat it like an English grammar. Do not correct what you see is wrong. What you see is there is what you should use. Now let's find. Is it finding? Clear the log, find. Yes, now it's finding. So that was the issue with that. How about this out here? The first and foremost, why are we using the dot at the beginning? All right. The dot does not really significantly say anything in an XPath. So let's take it out. Now, will it find, team? Still an issue. Why? I have to say attribute at class equals btn hyphen success. So for attribute class, I should use the at symbol in the front of it. Still showing an error. Why? At class equals btn hyphen success. Made a spell error. Success is double C. Now is it working? Clear the log and click yes. See how small, subtly, we very ignorantly are making mistakes, team. Not deliberately. We are making some small blunders. And those things you have to figure out to, go for it. Now look at this XPath. Totally incorrect. The format, the syntax is very important. If you're unable to do that, that means there's something totally going not in the right direction. So now let's try and use something that will work for sure. So I would write very simple / button open square brackets at attribute name equals single quote submit. This class, this type, text, and so on. But the problem with type submit is if there are multiple buttons with the same type submit or the same class called BTN success, then it may contradict, sorry team, with our program, and we don't want that to happen. So let's make sure once again through our Selenium IDE that this element is identified correctly, and it seems to be blinking. So there you go. Now let's take that and write. How do we write? Driver dot find element by dot name, correct? That is what we use, team, everyone. And in the brackets I'll put this value in double quotes dot click, cause we want to be able to click that. What happened here? Isn't this the code? There you go. Did I do everything right out here, team? Is that how we click? We've identified the XPath. Now we put it. Correct? Curly brackets not used, team. It's the square brackets. Do you think our code is correct right now? Why is it not correct? This is not the name attribute. The attribute is XPath. The way we are identifying the element is XPath, not name, team. Inside that we're using name. Here it is only ID. If I want to use name, then how do I do it? Type the same thing and here. See how much I'm emphasizing on these small aspects of automation. And why is it that I'm doing this? Not because I enjoy focusing on this very basic things. Cause you cannot go beyond in automation if you don't master this area. So line number 44 is correct. So is line number 45 if I say by dot XPath here. Both are fine. But you can't say name. This is name, that is submit. This is XPath. It's got the whole thing. Here it could be name, ID, class, type, whatever it is. As long as the identification is fine. Fair enough? Now, once we click on it, what should happen? So we enter some invalid data. Okay. And out here too. And I click on login. What should happen, team? It should give this message out here. Now, how do I verify that this text will be present here? Understood, team? I want to make sure that this specific text is present out here. Alright, so I'm going to first copy this text, put it out here and say this is the text, expected text. Alright. Now look at the logic and how I'm trying to convert that into something more practical for us to use. This is the expected text. Where do we expect this text? Let's write the XPath for it. Now to write the XPath, I can use anything out here, but I already have the whole thing, right? The HTML code for that. What is the XPath for this? //span, that is the HTML tag, open square brackets at attribute is style equals single quotes color colon hash ec1. Is this the correct XPath, everyone? Yes or no? Anything wrong that you saw I did? What is wrong out here? No, see, I don't want to say inner text. I don't want to say anything about that text. I know this is a text. Where am I expecting? I'm finding the location of that element. All right. Now, we are humans at the end of the day. and we are bound to make some kind of a manual error, and that is the specific reason we should not try and take chances. Use your Selenium IDE and see if it is identified. Can you see it, team? In the first occurrence it identified. What happened after that? The color change or something? This is interesting. Now do you see? The style itself changed, the value. Let me say find. It found. But then I did it the second time and it's throwing an error. Why not? This is the one. The style value has changed. And that's the challenge we'll have with dynamic applications team. So now we'll have to figure out an alternate one which will remain to be always constant. Div style margin. Now I'm trying to see the whole code. So this is the form. Within that, this is the text. I go down, I can see each and every element within it. What if I say form under that div, under that span? You see, have you all attended that element identification advanced one from Manoj? Form at id equals single quotes login underscore form end of single quotes square brackets slash div slash span. And now let us see the reason I'm having to do this. The attribute called style, which had a value of color colon hash ec1, after we identified it, it kind of changed the value. If we run the code, it may not be an issue, but I don't want to take a chance. Is there an alternate way to find it? Now we wrote a new XPath saying go to form with ID login underscore form first, then go to the first div under it, go to the span HTML tag under it, and I'm going to say find. Do you see this? This was the same thing in the same similar fashion that we saw as on the first XPaths that I wrote here. Now you understand, team, how and where we need to improvise. Okay. This is a kind of a hybrid XPath. We're starting with identified element within the HTML page, which is form. Within that, then we went to kind of the location of the element under div, under span. Okay. Now, this is the expected text, and this is where I'm expecting it. Now, what do we do? So, confirm error message. To do this, I can always say driver dot find element by dot XPath, put this in double quotes, and then I'm going to say dot get text. Get text will get the text that is going to be present out there. Now, when I run this, this statement 48 will get text. What do I want to do with it? I want to compare and see if it is equal to what I'm expecting, which is this text. All right. Now we're getting into something very, very critical, team, in terms of any kind of a programming, any kind of an automation test as well. It is the absolute necessity to start using variables. I have a variable called expected text. That is the name I'll give, and I'll say in double quotes, this is the value that I'm expecting. Clear, everyone? But like objects, variables also need to be initialized before using. So I'll say this is string and expected text. Then I need one more string called actual text. So whatever I get from this statement, which is in line 48, I'm going to put that information here. Then what I will do, sorry, system.out.println expected text is plus exp text. Now we're getting into Java team. This is where we're starting to improvise and slowly take our actions. Actual text is ACT text. The importance of this exercise is not how big is our automation script, how complete is it, how much are we doing it in a very structured manner. So we created two variables. In one, I stored something that will remain as is, and that is the text that we expect. This is the actual text that we wanted to see in the application. All right. Now, then there is an actual text, the one which we are getting from the application directly using get text. How do you know it's get text? Now you know it. All right. And as we keep exploring, you will start to know more and more on these things, team. Now let us run this test. It should tell me if my test is a pass or a fail. So all I need to do is sit back, relax, and wait for the test to execute. Are all the steps done? Not necessarily, but let us figure it out now. Okay, let's see here, execution. Hey, good, my test passed or failed, team? Did my test pass or did my test fail? Forget this here, the console, just by looking here. Now there are two things, team. Remember this very, very strongly. Alt F8, day 2. The first thing is test execution. Next thing is test result. Test execution is basically saying, could we run the test? Sometimes the program could go wrong, where we're running itself could go wrong, and that happened or not is important. So here JUnit is not gonna throw any application related error, team. It will only throw an error that is related with the test executed or not. That is all. But in the test result where we're saying test case passed or not, this is important when it comes to the test result. Now we've got expected text, actual text, and when we execute this at the end, I also want to close the browser, team. Let me do this. I will talk about this logout, which was an error that we did when writing, very quickly as well. Let's see what this happens with. Look at how swiftly we're moving from a simple code to much more manageable, friendly looking, very sophisticated, simple code at the same time. We're not trying to overcomplicate anything out here, team. Now, did the test execution pass or fail? Test execution pass. How about test result? expected text is so and so, actual text is so and so. Hey, pass, correct everyone? But then why do I need to look out here and compare it myself? Why can't we let Java do it for us? Sure, why not? All I need to do is use something called as a conditional statement within Java. That's basically if a condition is true, do X, else do Y. What this does, team, many a times when we talk about the flow, right? The decision making capability becomes very critical when we talk about programming languages. And that is one of the building blocks of how programs can work automatically. So if something is true, then do this. And here I can say some sets of code. Else, if it is false, then do this. And here I can write some sets of code. What could be the simplest live example? Let us say you go visit an ATM to withdraw some money, which is in fact today one of the most challenging things to do with India and the demonetization. Since I'm in India right now, I can see in front of my eyes how long the queues go. Even at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., it's crazy. So let's say you go to an ATM. Oops, what happened? Okay. You go to an ATM team, all right? Now you enter your card, okay? And you say you enter your PIN number. Now what should happen? The application, the banking one, should check if PIN is correct or not. If yes, then do, oops, if yes, then do something. If no, print saying that, hey, you entered an incorrect PIN, please check and repeat your transaction. Right, everyone? So that kind of a application, kind of a feature where the application can decide what to do under certain circumstances is possible through simple conditional statements. Simplest, most effective ones that we can use in any programming language is called an if statement. So the way we do it, if something is true, then you do this. Okay? Else you do something else. This is how the simplest if statement works. Now what is the condition? If expected text and actual text are the same. There's something wrong. Okay. So I say if expected text dot equals actual text, then we're gonna perform some steps. And what are those steps gonna be, team? Those steps will be printing something like this. Only one thing right now. What will we say? TC001 pass is a pass. If it failed, else. Okay, in here I'll say this TC001 is a fail. That's it. Now I can repeat my same test again and see what it's gonna do. Everyone with me, team? That is how you can write a simple if statement. You're comparing two values, one that you expected, one that you got. And I just want to compare and make sure if they're correct or not. So now we say the test case is a fail. Do you think it's a fail, team? Hmm. I am in fact surprised myself because I did not do anything deliberately to change anything. Here is my expected text. Here is my actual text. Why do you think it failed? Hmm. No, it's a negative scenario. Alright, team, negative test case or positive test case, negative scenario or positive scenario, your test case must still pass. So now looks like there is a problem with the application. Shall we go ahead and log a defect on it? Right? Now we can go and tell the developers that there seems to be something wrong. In this case, actual text, act text and expect text are both variables. But then you should never report something so quickly. Why? That fault finding activity that we are in the testing world, you should always have three suspects in the specific order. The first one is your data that you provide. Did I give the right email? Did I give the right password? Um, did I give the right expected text? And so on. Second thing is our code that we write. And that code, so that there's no syntax error, there are no run errors, and our logic is not incorrect. That is what you should do. And when we're confident about our data and the code, then you can go and criticize the application and the test. So this is 1, 2, 3. So don't ever start with saying that application is at fault. First, make sure that you rule out there is nothing wrong here and the fact that your code is fine. Then you come here. In this case, the data is nothing but this text. Lot of times, team, these subtle spaces somewhere in here is different. I start with I and I go till here, and again I start with I and I go till here. Do you see any difference? If you are a good test engineer, by now you should have recognized. I saw a couple of good answers from some of the team members, Bhushan, Divya, saying, why don't we check the length of the text? Some of you have given me the answers, and that's good. But the process of getting to the answer is very important, team. The easiest way for us to do it is we can do length, but you can also see here, right, that after exclamation there is no space. Here after exclamation there is a space. So we may have given an extra space at the end, which we will delete and now retry to run the test. How many of you could not see the difference when I did the highlighted in out here where we printed expected text and actual text? And you can be very honest and straightforward with me on your answer, team. The reason I'm saying is that ability to have an eagle's eye as to how where the difference is very, very important for software testers. Now that you see those small differences, from now going forward, give lot of attention to these small things, team, and that will take you a long way in your career. All right, now let's rerun the test. There you go. Now test executed correctly. My test result is also a pass. And I close the browser too. Perfect. So very successfully I could create one test out here. Now one thing I'll do, team, this close browser that is there, right? I'm going to move that into at after. Why? I want to close the browser out here, team, not there. All right. And there's no logout in here. Now I wrote one test case from our Excel sheet. So long, right? Question to all. To test this test case TC001 manually, how long will it take? one test run. How long will it take manually without automation? Come on team. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day. 3 hours? 30 minutes? Why will it take? Just one test case, one set of test data, that's it. 15 to 20 minutes? 2 minutes? 1 minute guys. Open a browser, navigate, enter email, enter password, click on login, see if you get the message or not, report the issue, close the browser, done. Shouldn't take more than 1 or 2 minutes maximum, right? But how much time did we take to write this automation script for this? We took at least 1 hour, minimum 1 hour we took. So just imagine, when will we get the efficiency, the ROI? That is a challenge team, and we'll continue to work on that. Now let's talk about, for example, test case 002. How do I now automate test case 002, where the only big difference is the kind of data we're entering and the fact that we want to confirm a user is logged in, click on logout and close browser. So let's use some correct data. I've not done a sign up, but I think you can all be able to do a sign up. Let me try it. Not here in this. I think my karthikosri@gmail.com works, but I don't remember the password exactly. Now I want to make sure that this welcome message comes. How do I do it? So inspect span welcome. It's under div class profile. Or I'll say heading 2 is Karthik. Any other H2 in this code? H2. Lot of H2s, but let's say, okay, this is the email address that I'll write at gmail.com. When you want to try team, first try and do the user sign up, and then you can try and do this. Okay, password, come on, I forgot password team, honestly. Oh, I didn't. I remember now. So I got the correct data team. Great, this is good. This is beautiful. Karthik Kosireddy at gmail.com, and the password is there you go, 123 QWE $R, not F. All right. So with this, once I log in, I should be able to see this information. What is that information? That it is showing the welcome message. How do I do that? Or I want to make sure that Karthik is coming. I'll just say H2 and let's say find. See if it finds. There you go. So this text should be Karthik. Then I need to click on admin here and log out the specific link. So right click, inspect element with Firebug. See what it is. href equals logout.php, and if you scroll down, it is here. It seems to be a link, so I'll just say click link logout team. Now to write this code, okay, here we're verifying for Karthik. Okay, what is the change I need to do? Very simple. Look at how beautiful it is now. To automate something new, add test, copy this whole thing, okay, and put another test here. In the first test case, here I'll call it as my TC001, and the next one here I will call it as my TC002. So what is the structure of the code now? It's a typical JUnit test. And now when we start with our next session, we're gonna straight away get into data-driven framework. We've got the before a test, after a test, the basic fundamentals of a JUnit code. I have one test here. I have one test here. I have one test here. So before T1 this gets executed, after T1 this one, before T2 this, after T2 this, before T3 this, after T3 this. That is how the flow is. So my add before will basically start the Chrome driver and maintain the timeout. My add test will execute the first test case as was. My second test case I need to modify, and at after is closing the driver after each test execution. You getting, team, everyone? Now my expected text in this case is what? Karthik. Okay, actual text, where will I get it from? XPath is just H2, that is the XPath, and actual text will come here. Expected text is this, actual text is this. Compare it and see if test case 002 is a pass or test case 002 is a fail. And finally log out. How do we log it? Driver dot find element by dot link text, and the text is log out. Let's make sure. What is the text? Log out. O also is uppercase and double quotes dot click. Oops. All right. So now we are logging out at this point in the second test case. Now, how long did it take for me to write a new test case now that I have some other similar test case? Not too long, maybe another 2 minutes. There is slowly starting to come our efficiency team, where we are able to slowly get some better return on investment. Okay, now let's run this. Aren't you all excited really to see what may happen? Am I as a trainer confident that it'll run correctly? Nope, not at all. But then I went through the right approach. I could have still made some errors at programming or wherever, but let's figure out. So I got test case is a pass 001. Now test case 002 is starting. So it will log in. Oh, now what happened, team? Test case 001 is a pass. That's brilliant. That's great. But test case 002 is not a pass. So that means that we will have a challenge to report and say that yes, it's a pass or a fail. Right, everyone? At the same time, my test execution is also a fail. In my JUnit test, which took 33 seconds overall, the first test case took 13.5 seconds. The second test case took 19.5 seconds, but it failed out here saying no such element exception. Why do you think it failed, team? Number one, go back to that fundamental. Something went wrong. Who is that culprit? Can I report the application? Nope. Should I report the code? Nope. What should I first check with? I should first always check if my data was correct. Did we change the data? Yes, I changed it, right? In the Excel? Then, oh, I didn't change it in the code. Now I understand. See, Excel we changed, but the code we didn't. So of course it will fail. Where? Out here. The send keys Karthik at gmail.com. Alright, and the password is 123 QWE dollar R. Now let's run it again. So now, do you personally believe, team, that Selenium and WebDriver, Java JUnit can be managed and we could do some decent learning on it going forward? Is your confidence level increasing slowly? Just waiting for the test to end. Come on, don't take so long. Why didn't it close? Again some issue. No such element exception. Where link text logout. Oh. Now why do you think this happened, team? Can you see the link text logout? We could, should be there. Hmm. Now, how do we understand and handle these errors? Most critical, team. When we come back on day 3, we will go through them at length. The first thing is double click at the last one in your failure trace. It'll give you so much information which you don't need. And we're not trying to be Java developers here. We're trying to be very efficient, automated automation test engineers. So double click there, it will take us to the exact link. It is basically saying that test case is a pass because this is the text expected. This was the actual text. No issues here, no spaces here, and so on. And this is a pass. But after that, when we try to click on log out, it could not click on log out. That was the issue. Why? Maybe the website took a little time to load after we clicked on login. So here's where we clicked on login. So what I can do something called thread.sleep and say sleep for, let's say, 2 seconds. So I'll say 2000 milliseconds. Thread.sleep is a like a asking Java to wait here for 2 seconds. That is the statement, team. We know that this page will take time and hence we're asking it to wait. Alright. Now at the same time, it is also not the only solution. The beauty of programming is for one problem there are multiple solutions. Okay. Now thread.sleep seems to be not recognized. What should I do? Look for suggestions and something called as add throws declaration. That is fine. Don't worry what these exceptions and so on are. We'll keep working on them as we go on. Now let's rerun this test. Both test cases again. And team, even if it executes correctly or not, we will end the session today and we'll continue from our day 3. And if you had any questions, team, please make sure that you ask it as soon as you can, because I do have a hard stop in the next few minutes and would like to do that. Still taking time. See, this application is loading. Now I click on this, then it is logging out. Sorry, team. Now I understand. I need to click on that specific element first. After we logged in here, I need to click here. That's when this logout is actually becoming visible. It should not matter, but this was the step. So I inspect element with Firebug, and here is the one. A class so and so admin. So I first click on that link, then click on logout. So all I do here, now the earlier one, was not the perfect solution. So first admin, then log out. Now I think it should work. So I'm going to do a final run for today and we'll continue to take it further, more advanced from day 3 team. Any questions please before we end this? I'm going to let it silently observe this and let this happen because very critical for us to make sure we're watching how the test is running. Come on, come on, come on. Shouldn't take so long to load. It's because the application has got a lot of components in it. Come on. Now it did, closed. So totally test execution was fine and both our test cases have passed. What we expected for the application to do, we could do it. But see how quickly we could rerun this test with very, very little interference. Okay. I was getting an error with org.openqa.selenium remote unreachable browser exception. Sure, Kirti, use the forum or evaluate and see what's going wrong. The process of evaluating these errors is very important. And yesterday I also told you how we need to use Google to try and find the solution. Now, this training, unlike other trainings team, does not have one-on-one student to trainer interaction. It's got one-to-many. So we need to work on a very specialized model. And one of the good things about is we don't do spoon feeding. So that lets you learn a lot of things and spend some effort at your end to try and figure out solutions. That is more important overall. At the end of the day, you should be successful and we'll continue to work with you on it. Can you please explain XPath for error message for wrong login? XPath for error message for wrong login. No, Vivek, why? That should be clear, right? We already did this in the previous sessions, right? But then this basically says the highlighted portion is the XPath for the form. Where is the form? Let me log out here. For this whole form. So if I right click here and say inspect element with Firebug, I can see the complete form here. Okay, team? So this is the XPath for it. Now what we're saying, in the form, go to the first div and no, what was that we said? In the form, go to the first div and first span in it. Okay, so form ID, where is span here? This is after we enter some incorrect information. So we enter some incorrect data and then click on login. That is when. So first go to the form, in that go to the first div and then go to the first span within it. Alright, now see form div, go to span within it, this is the text. That is how it worked, Vivek. Alright, please share the test file for practice. No, Kushal, I won't do it because I want you to look at the video and do it at your end. If I share the test file, it becomes too simple and easy and you may not practice. That is the reason, please. But towards the end of each project that we do, like for example, other 2-3 projects in this training that we have to do, I will combine and send it across to you. Okay, but please try and practice, everyone. I'm facing issue with Chrome browser launch. It's the same issue we faced in our basic training. Could not figure out or search the solution. So Bhushan, even after you put this thing about how we set the system property, maybe the correct driver is not there, maybe the path to the driver is incorrect, for where the driver is. These are the basic things you need to debug, or take your whole code and put it in the forum. That's where technical support will happen, everyone. How many XPaths can element have? So Padma, it's very simple. How many ways can you go from a place A to place B? Multiple ways, right? Same thing. Sometimes you want the shortest way. Sometimes you want the most fun way. Sometimes you want the least time consuming way. So those criteria sometimes decide team how we want to go. Are the Gecko driver compatible with the latest Firefox browser? Yes, they are, and I could run tests also on them. Asha, how will you generate report for these test cases? These test cases just have these reports saying this took 12 seconds, this took 30 seconds, and here they are the results. When we do get into more advanced keyword driven framework in the coming week, at that time we will add some reporting to it. It will make it very interesting. I'm quitting my current job so that I can dedicate more time in JPACT and be active in job market ASAP. Thanks to Untitled for doing the wonders. Thank you, Mohammed. Appreciate it. But please, again, survival is important. Focus also is critical. So continue to go about it that way, please. To find elements in web pages, what is the best way to find element with like XPath or name? Like I said, Nitisha, whichever works, number one. You have to go from point A to point B. Let's say you're in a hurry, you need to catch the flight. What will you do? I don't care. Let me pay 500 rupees more, get a better Uber or Ola cab, and let me take that and go, right? Sometimes you'll say, oh man, I have 4 hours for my flight. Let me take the subway. Let me take a shade ride or shade pool car ride and save money. Whatever works is very important, number one, in that situation. Divya, for test case 001, when we are trying to verify text, invalid email or password on the user login page in HTML, do we have an extra space? Yes, you're right. Very good question. In here, there is an extra space at the end. All right. But how do I know there's an extra space? I just copy this, take it here and put it. It will show you that there is an extra space team. But why didn't it then recognize that extra space? Because when I did get text, it got the text out here. Okay. And this get text method, when it got it and put it into ACT text, it eliminated the last space there. That was the reason. Any trailing spaces got eliminated. That is the reason, Divya. Did that answer your question? All right. When to use CSS path? Radhika, again, same answer. Lizzie, can you please show the XPath for the error message, invalid email or password? Sure, here it is. We said the XPath was, where was it? 1 second, the screen is blocked. Form, ID is login underscore form. In that form, go to the first div, HTML tag, go to the first span, HTML tag, under div. That's how we identify. All right. Okay. All right, team, looks like that's about it. Let me see the maybe 1 or 2 last questions that I want to make sure that I answer. Where is it? Can someone ping me once on the questions? My window got hid. The Q&A. Can you say hi, please? Oh, yeah. No, I got it. Thank you. Okay. After this course, do you have placements? Absolutely. But again, we're focusing more with the JPACT members for placement. But for the right candidate who's got the right skill that we can verify, then we will definitely work on placements for you. But it is using the XPath. Does it not using the HTML code? I didn't understand the view. Okay, now you got it. All right, thank you. Sarvat Begum. Guys, just for the sanctity of the whole session, I'm not unmuting everyone. And I want you to start typing, please, for your questions. HTML and Firepath show the same code. I see. Yeah, must have been Sneha. So Nitisha Parate, I answered your question on after this course, do you have placements? All right, yeah, thank you. All right, everyone, thank you so much for attending day 2. We'll see you back on Day 3, I believe, is on Monday. Do note, it will be on a different URL. Only our premium members, confirmed participants, will get the link to it, and they can continue to be part of it there. So we'll look forward to having you in day 3, and we'll take it from there. JUnit is used by developers for unit testing. Why are we learning it? So Sarvat, the question is good question. We are learning it because it's very easy to get started for automation testing. But as we go along, you'll notice we'll keep JUnit aside and we'll get straight into core Java. All right. Could you please explain the below code? Core driver equals new Firefox driver. That's the step code number 1, right, Raj? It is like you go to a conference and after 3 days you ask, hey, what did you say at the beginning of the conference? I'll say, welcome to IT-Learn. Cause that's very standard question you asked. Sorry, if you missed the class, please do watch them. We have a lot of free sessions and we have a premium package also. Please do. Thank you so much, Raj. I appreciate it. I don't think there's a class tomorrow, team, but make sure that the schedule will come to you, everything via email. Add us to your contact list so it doesn't go and sit in your spam, and we'll take it from there. Thank you all. Take care now. Bye. Have a good day. Sarvat, last answer. Course prices and so on, please look at itlearn.com/pricing. TestNG also is there as videos. We may not get enough time as part of our live training, but we have many tutorials on TestNG too. Thank you all. Take care, and do note all the videos that we do are getting uploaded to YouTube as well as our website. You can access it from there. Take care all. Thank you so much. Bye now.